Hello, BookTube. This is a tag. For once, I'm doing a tag on Tuesday, so that's pretty exciting. I was tagged by Steve Donahue, and this is the character adaptation tag created by Seeking Stories, and it's a tag that's making its way around. At least in the group of booktubers I watch. It's a wonderful tag, open enough so that so you can be creative, but with enough structure so it keeps someone like me from going off on too much of a tangent. Now, it's a character adaptation, as in from books to movies. I am not a great movie watcher. But I do, like anybody, have the movies I enjoy. I had to go to some TV series to answer some of these. The way I'm reading the questions, it wasn't originally set up that way, but I've seen other folks do it, so hopefully I'm not messing with the tag too much. So, we're going to just start out here. I'll use my phone a couple times. I have that IMDb, is that International Movie Database? So I'll get some details that won't stick in my head for you. But I'm going to start off with the first question here. Who are your two favorite book to movie adaptations? And of course, like anybody, I could come up with quite a few, but I pretty much went with what jumped in my head first. And the first of these is the Jason Bourne movies with Matt Damon. And so you have The Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy. Let's see if I can do this without too much glare. Bourne Ultimatum. And then, of course, Jason Bourne. I read the books a long time ago. The character is a Robert Ludlum character. As you can see in this room, this is like a really weird shaped little room. There's a bathroom there. It's upstairs. We're upstairs. Bathroom there, my son's room there, and this, I don't even know, you couldn't even, there's no name for the shape of this room. The house is 150 years old, so the bathroom was cut out of a corner that used to be stairs leading up to the attic. And then this room here didn't exist 150 years ago. An addition was built to this house. So, but this stacks, and this room is an odd room, so there's stacks of books in here. This is where I sit in the chair and just read when everybody's taking over the rest of the house. And the problem with the stacks is, of course, what's on the bottom, a little hard to get to. So I grabbed a Robert Ludlum book. That's not really a Robert Ludlum book, because all my Bourne books and all the other Robert Ludlums are buried over there in more piles that look like these. So I grabbed an Eric von Lustbader new Jason Bourne novel. So it's Robert Ludlum's The Bourne Objective. And I enjoy these. I like these Lustbader versions. So there you go. And then there was another Bourne movie that, me being me, I was just going to be grumpy and not like, because it wasn't Matt Damon. And this is The Bourne Legacy. Jeremy Renner, Ed Norton's in it. It was really good. I really liked it. So, tells you what I know, right? So, there we go. This is going to, I just keep stacking. That seems to be the theme in this room. And then the other one, again, this is book to movie adaptations. The other one's a TV show. And the TV show is, I saw it on Mystery, but it's a British show. Mystery is a PBS thing. starring Sir Derek Jacobi. It's about a medieval era mysteries. Uh, Brother Cadfael, the series is named after him, is a crusader, or was a crusading knight, who returns to Shrewsbury Abbey as a monk, sort of like an apothecary. He's a very accomplished man of action, but he's moved in a different direction in his life. This originally aired in 1995, so I think you could probably, I don't know if you can still watch it or not, but Sir Derek Jacobi was wonderful. But I loved also the books, and I've got a couple here. Here's an older one. They're by Ellis Peters, Monk's Hood. And then you a lot of times see them in these covers. This one happens to be the 16th Brother Cadfael, the Heretic's Apprentice. And then right across the way here, I think I have them all in paperback, and then I have a big volume called the Cadfael Companion. Absolutely love these, very entertaining. So I like historical mysteries. Well, this is sort of an odd aside here. This isn't really part of the question, but another ones that came up here. I like both of the Poldark series. I think one came out in the 70s and one just a couple years ago by Winston Graham. And that's just a convenient aside because I'm almost done with this. I've got the whole series in paperback over here that I'm working my way through. So, who are your two least favorite book to movie adaptations? Well, I'm gonna need that IMDb, whatever it is there, to do this. And let me see here. The first answer to that is, let me see if I want to do these in the same order. Yeah, I'm going to do it in a different order than I intended, because I just like messing myself up. One of my least favorite was Salem's Lot, Stephen King's novel. I don't read everything by Stephen King. I read Salem's Lot when it first came out. It's a funny story. I lived in Bangor, Maine at the time. And I lived, West Broadway is the street where if you go to visit Stephen King's house, with its famous wrought iron horror fence and all that, his house I could see from my house. He lived on West Broadway and I lived on Pond Street. And my parents, I was old enough where my parents left me at home in a late autumn evening, and I decided I was going to read Salem's Lot by the guy up the road. And it was not a good idea. It's windy, typical New England night, scratching branches on the windows, and yeah, scared me to death. But I love the book, and it's one of his that has pretty disciplined form, let's say, and a depiction of this New England that I knew. And the TV series came out, and I was so excited. So again, this is a TV series, not a movie. And ended up being so disappointed. The atmosphere seemed to me to be wrong. The characters were off. And it just didn't work for me. So that was So here's the Salem's Lot. It's just one of these omnibus things. And so it was David Soul from Starsky and Hutch fame, and it was Lance Kerwin. James Mason was in it. But interesting enough, for where we're going to go next, to my other one that I don't, I'm rambling, aren't I? The other one I don't really like an adaptation of. So in Salem's Lot, there was a fella named Kenneth McMillan who played Constable Gillespie. And that leads me to my other least favorite, and that is Dune. I'm a big Dune fan, as a lot of you know. As my original paperback by Frank Herbert. I would be the first to admit it's very difficult to bring to film, but such are the challenges. And the tie-in with Kenneth McMillan in Salem's Lot is that Kenneth McMillan, who played Constable Gillespie, also played Baron Vladimir Harkonnen in the Dune from 1984. So it was a David Lynch film. Kyle MacLachlan, and let's see who else was in this here. Jose Ferrer played the Emperor. You had Richard Jordan, who played Duncan Idaho. Of course, Kenneth McMillan. Let's see. You had Jürgen Prochnow, who played, from Das Boot fame, who played Duke Leto Atreides. You had Sir Patrick Stewart, who played Gurney Halleck. You had Sting, who played Fade Ruatha, who is the Baron's heir. So I'll go, and Max von Sydow as Dr. Kynes. The list goes on. You had a cast that was unbelievable. And I just can't stand the movie. Don't want to be unfair, though. There are things they did right. I thought sometimes the, sacred, is that the way to say it? Sacred intonations, the way they used language. Moadib, a ritualized language almost with the Fremen. And then there were parts of it that were done right that I would think in a new movie, I guess there's a new one in the works, really needs to consider maybe emulating. There's a lot they really need not to. So anyhow, I did not like that. But I did like, the Science Fiction Channel did a mini-series on Dune. I have it right here. I don't have the boxes anymore. What happened is I ended up putting them in an album. You know, those kinds with the little slots that you do for CDs and DVDs. Here's the discs. I did that with a lot of my music too, and I really wish I had, and I wish I'd kept the jeweled cases. So there's that Dune, and then they also did Children of Dune. So the Dune series came out in 2000, and they had William Hurt as Duke Leto Atreides, had Alec Newman as Paul Muad'Dib, a lot of folks, Saskia Reeves, Ian McNeice is who plays Baron Vladimir Harkonnen in this. And then if you go to let's see here, the Children of Dune miniseries was 2003, so just a couple years later. And again, Alec Newman, Ian McNeice again as Vladimir Harkonnen, Stephen Burkhart as Stilgar, James McCovey was Leto Atreides as the second. Had Susan Sarandon. So there's a lot of good names in the series too. It had some flaws, but occasional maybe not occasional. Alec Newman tended to overdo the petulant young Paul. I know it had to be done, but I wasn't convinced by it. But for the most part, I thought both miniseries were really, really, really good. So yeah, Dune. Dune. Hopefully, this new movie. I've heard rumors. I don't know how true it is. I don't keep up with that stuff, but hopefully they really have a triumph. It would be good for me because I'd get to watch it. So then the last question here is, so yeah, let me make sure I'm doing this right. So which number 3, which movie character most improves upon the book's character? Now I'm going to go to a movie that actually has our second. So we went from Salem's Lot to Dune, and we did that with Kenneth McMillan. And Kenneth McMillan goes from Constable Gillespie to Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. We're going to go from Baron Vladimir Harkonnen again to our next one, which is sort of a weird thing, but this time it's Ian McNeice from the miniseries. He's going to be in our next movie. Which movie character most improves the book character? Now, some people are not going to be happy I say this. So, the movie, here, I can just pull it up here. Let me see how hard it is to get to. I probably should have done this differently. No, it's easy enough to do. The movie is beloved by book people, and rightfully so. And that movie came out in 1987, and it's 84 Charing Cross Road. And Ian McNeice is in it. Let's see who he plays, what the name is, because I can't remember the character name, although I remember him well. Bill Humphries. And he's wonderful. In a movie full of wonderful folks. And it's based on Helene Hamp's book, 84 Charing Cross Road. Letters between a budding writer. She did like radio scripts for like, what was it, Ellery Queen, that sort of thing. Wonderful, wonderful book. A true story. Helene Hanff lives in New York, and Frank Dole, this is right after World War II, lives in London. And they strike up a correspondence about books, and it's really, really good. So if you're watching this channel, you're a bookish person. To me, it's the best book movie ever made that I've seen. Obviously, I haven't seen them all. So Anne Bancroft is Helene Hanff. Anthony Hopkins is Frank Dole, and he's magnificent. I can quote almost all his lines. I can do that for Blazing Saddles, too. Frank Dole's wife is Dame Judi Dench. Yeah, it's an incredible, incredible movie. And I love the book, but because Frank Dole, Anthony Hopkins just runs away with this thing. And so I would say that for me, that's my favorite. So where a character really has the advantage of movies, right? So we can see the setting, we can see what the actor brings to the character. There's a scene when I'm not going to give away spoilers. Hopefully you'll go find it. I don't have my copy of the movie anymore. I keep giving it away. It can be hard to find sometimes. But there's a scene where Anthony Hopkins is disappointed, and he's standing in his office, and he quotes a little bit of Yeats. So anyhow, I'd like to thank. Let's see here. It was I'd like to say thanks Steve Donahue, obviously. Seeking Stories. This was a very interesting tag. I was a little challenged by it, as you can tell by my rambling. Love to see anybody else's video. I've watched a lot of them. A lot of you folks really know a lot more about movies than I do and TV. So I hope all is well, and thank you, BookTube.